If you're an Xbox collector, you know it's been very difficult to come by physical releases these days. But about 10 years ago, when we started collecting for the Xbox One, we focused on getting physical copies that were more of the oddities and rarities out there. So in today's episode, that's exactly what we want to highlight.
And here are some games that we picked up along the way that we think you should consider adding to your collection too.
I want to start off with a very famous fictional character, we know from murder mysteries, from way back when. I don't even know how long this, or how far back this character goes. But I've been a very big fan of these games actually since probably PC days or like early Xbox 360. And here I have Sherlock Holmes, the Devil's Daughter. This was not the first Sherlock Holmes game that came out on Xbox One, but I'll explain why I think you should be on the lookout for this one. Because Frogwares, who makes a lot of these Sherlock Holmes games, they got in a dispute with their publisher and they had to start self-publishing when they decided to self-publish their games. And hence why now they do mostly digital releases for their games. So they did re-release this at least once, I believe, on Xbox One or possibly even Series X. And this is the only physical copy of this game, and they also had to delist the game from the marketplace. So if you're looking for this particular copy of it, especially if you are a person who goes for achievements, then this would be the version you're looking for in this case. It's not the Redux version. But like I said, I played a lot of these Sherlock Holmes games. I think I've yet to play like some of the newer ones that came out. But I'm a huge fan of these games. They're sort of like point and click games, but it's a little bit more interactive because you're actually walking around, you're controlling the character, not just clicking and having them pick up the items. But it's 100% the detective murder mystery thing that you would expect from Sherlock Holmes. So you work the different cases, and typically they have some sort of connection between them, but it's just kind of like watching a TV series or something like that. You have to interrogate people, you have to put clues together, you have to use your forensic tools to figure out what's going on, and you have to think this was, 100 years ago? I don't know. There's even an episode where you go to Whitechapel as well and investigate kind of the Jack the Ripper. I think for the sake of having a physical for this, especially for the reason that I explained, that this may be the last Sherlock Holmes on Xbox that got a physical release. So that's why I recommend playing this game and also getting the physical if you can. Because if it was delisted, chances are something like this may become rare and hard to find in the future.
All right, I've got another value pack, basically, another bundle of games with another just good value. And this is for a 2D side scroller that's pretty famous, I would say. And that is Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Now, this, I did swap out the cover, or I turned it around basically, because I think it's always cool to get a unique cover on your game, especially on our Xbox One games where so many of them are just gray on the spine. So this one's pretty cool, different. But yeah, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, it has Shovel of Hope, it has Plague of Shadows, it has Spectre of Torment, King of Cards, and also Shovel Knight Showdown on it. So it's obviously a really great value of games. It's harder to find for the Xbox One. This did come out on other consoles though, but this physical version of it is definitely tougher to find. I believe the digital version of these games alone is $39.99. So quite honestly, if I have to pay that price, I would rather just look for the physical of this game and get it into your collection, because it's a cool one to have too. I think it has great art for it. Like I said, reversible cover on it as well, and just really great value of a game to have in your collection of a classic 2D side scroller that's definitely a cult classic already, and I'm sure that this game will only get rarer over time.
We have to set this one up, but we've talked about this game before, but not in this particular setting. I think in game collecting, in a game collecting scenario. But I always recommend anything from this publisher, and if you know, you know. And the game that we're talking about here is Zombie Army Trilogy, and this is of course by Rebellion, which if you know Rebellion, they self-publish most of their games, at least since the late Xbox 360 days, I would say. They kind of bounced back and forth a lot before that, and then they finally decided to self-publish their games. But with Zombie Army Trilogy, this was one of the earliest co-op games that we played together. And obviously this is a spin-off in a sense, of DLC from Sniper Elite V2, which I actually didn't play it back then. But obviously when they re-released this as a trilogy on Xbox One, I bought it like this first, and I think you bought a digital copy so we could do the co-op together, which obviously helped out a ton. But it just made me realize later on that I think since you didn't have a physical copy, I wonder if a lot of people actually skipped out on the physical in the beginning, because this was actually an early Xbox One game. And like I said, with Rebellion, they have very low print runs. And as we've seen with Sniper Elite, which we are also a big fan of that series, we have a very hard time finding the physicals for like Sniper Elite 5 and 4 and some of the remasters that we've seen from Sniper Elite V2 as well. So that's why I always recommend kind of getting the Rebellion releases, since they are self-published and they just kind of don't come around very often. They don't seem to reprint them either.
They don't have sales either. Like they don't have sales on their digital games. They definitely don't have sales on their physical games.
Yeah, something we have definitely noticed over the years, buying all of their games basically. And I think even the last one, Sniper Elite Resistance, that's also like a weird physical that I would definitely recommend getting. But since we're talking about Zombie Army Trilogy, especially this one, since it is an early one, this is going to easily get forgotten and people are not going to know there even was a physical for this. But we're obviously here to tell you that we recommend that you pick up Zombie Army Trilogy, because not only is it a really fun co-op shooter, which obviously, as the name implies, you kill zombies here in Nazi Germany in World War II. So it's
with a satanic twist.
Yeah, of course. And it's one of our favorite co-op games still. You know, we also played Zombie Army 4. But since this was one of the earlier ones, I would definitely be on the lookout for this, because this one's going to be very hard to find. And, you know, it does come with this sort of trilogy in a sense, where it has levels from Sniper Elite V2. And that's why I recommend checking out this physical if you can find it, because this is definitely the time to do it.
All right, there's many editions of this game. I feel like you've probably seen this game for the Wii U. It's across all different consoles, but there was this one special edition that I was looking for, and that is Terraria Special Edition. I don't know, it was something about the fact that it had a sleeve on it and it's like red and everything. It just stood out to me, and I immediately was like, we have to get this one for the Xbox One. It did also come out on the PS4. Both versions are quite rare by this point. If you don't want it brand new, and if you are okay with it being open, just complete in box, you can get it for a pretty decent price. But also, it does have in it some collector stickers, and you may have already noticed I seem to like these little like collectibles because I just think they're kind of cool. So we have some weird stickers. They're like giant stickers in here. Apparently there are some sew-on patches. Oh yeah, here it is, little tiny little sew-on wizard guy. So we have him that we can put onto our jacket if we really feel like it. We have like an art card, I believe. We have a little, I don't even know, mini manual, instruction manual, and then you have a little art card as well. So just pretty, you know, it's a unique little Terraria collectible, I feel. And for those people that are fans of Terraria, which I am a pretty big fan of Terraria, it's just that it's one of those games that's been out for so long now. I feel like I've played it across so many different consoles, but I absolutely think that it's a fantastic game. Another one of those games too that keeps getting updates on it too. This is like an anything goes mini Minecraft basically. Yeah, you're building, you have like these worlds that you can build in, and you have people that will join your town or join your little village. You can obviously have friends come and play with you as well. They can also build inside your world. So I say mini Minecraft because the blocks are smaller. I know that's a little bit silly, but it's a little bit of a smaller version of Minecraft. Also, it's similar though that you are digging down, right? So in Minecraft, you're mining. Well, in this game, you're kind of getting to the bottom to see the enemies, to loot the crazy weapons that you can find. This game, I say anything goes because the weapons, the special abilities, the things that you can unlock in this game are just crazy. I mean, I think there's like some crazy unicorn that you can unlock in this game as well and fly across with. So it has very difficult bosses also in this game, and that's why you want to get the cool gear. Because if you don't get the gear like me in the beginning, I don't stand a chance against those bosses unless I am really going for the gear that you can get as deep as you can possibly go within the mines, basically. So if you haven't played Terraria before, highly recommend it. It's just one of those fun, silly, open world, do anything, game. Play it with friends, play it alone. You're gonna have a good time. If you enjoy collecting rare kind of physicals, this is one to definitely be on the lookout for. It might be tough to find this sleeve in particular and find it in good shape, but I think it's worth being on the lookout for.
So I have one here that I bought digitally first, and it's one of those that I'd mentioned a couple of times already where I had it digitally and I didn't really know there was a physical, especially on Xbox. Or if you know this series, you know it's a pretty messed up series of games. And of course, that's Outlast Trilogy, which includes Outlast, Outlast Whistleblower, and Outlast 2. And yeah, like I said, these are some of the most messed up horror games that I've ever played, I think. Especially the Whistleblower DLC. Obviously, if you played it, it's just psychotic. I mean, it's just no other way to say it. I don't know what Red Barrel's, like who works there to even think about this kind of stuff, but absolutely worth having a physical of this though, just based on having all of those, in a sense, 3 games. And naturally the DLC is going to be a little bit less. And what kind of sets this apart, at least at the time, it became, rather than the survival horror where you were fighting back with weapons, here you only have a camera that you bring into an insane asylum, or in the case of Outlast 2, you go into this village, and so that's the only way. It's kind of like more like a run and hide survival horror game, really. And I know a lot of people don't like that style, but there's no denying that the tension in this game is through the roof. I mean, this is one of the creepiest, weirdest games that I played, and like I said, they kind of topped it off in each entry after the first one, I would say. But just the fact that you get these 3 in this collection, and I didn't know there was a physical for this after I had played it, but I made sure to pick this one up as well. And yeah, if you do like that type of horror game, I know this was like back in the day, all sorts of YouTubers, and it was just kind of like, reaction videos to people really freaking out. I think it's still very much worth playing, and very much worth collecting for this one as well, because of the value you get. This is on sale all the time, really, especially the first game and the DLC. But check out the physical for this too, because I think it's worth adding to your collection, unless you obviously don't like horror games. But that's how it goes. But yeah, great Trinity. This Outlast Trilogy bundle here.
Now, if you're not into horror games, I might have the game for you. This is almost the opposite of Outlast.
Good,
all right?
Good segue.
We have Slime Rancher. This is just the first Slime Rancher. I don't think the second one has a physical quite yet, at least that I'm aware of. But here's the first one. This was another one of those published by Fangamer and Skybound Games. And I don't see this on the Fangamer website anymore, and I can't see that this is in production anymore. However, I do still see this like pretty decent price. I'd say at least under 20 at GameStop and even on eBay. Again, I think that's usually like complete in box version, but still this is definitely a game I suggest collecting. It's no longer in production. It's a fantastic game. If you haven't played Slime Rancher before, this is like, I don't know, it's a first-person shooter, but it's a first-person shooter you've never experienced before. You kind of have different missions in this game, basically. You're trying to find all the different slimes. You're adding them to your farm, hence the name Rancher. You're exploring this world that's just pretty unique in the way that it's not our world. It's not quite our world, but it's not complete fantasy. So I find that it's like a really cool blend. And also there is a story that's being told in the background almost the entire time as well. I think that some people pay attention to that, some people don't. It doesn't really matter. I think it's more that it's just like collecting these slimes. You can level them up in certain ways. You're feeding them things, you're breeding them. They need different types of homes. So some of them want to be in caves, some of them want to be outside. They need different food, so you're gonna have to find those certain types of food for them. You need to keep certain slimes away from each other. You need to get them certain types of cages and stuff because they're gonna try to escape out. And then there's like these little evil slimes also that will try to come and wreck everything on your farm or destroy your day, basically. Slime Rancher's definitely in a category of its own, and this physical I definitely would want to have in my collection.
And didn't this physical actually come as part of like a really amazing collector's edition that we got as well? And you know, and I know that this is one game that you guys have been trying to get me to play for the longest time, and I think I tried it out. I got a Games with Gold at some point, so technically do still own it alongside the physical, but that was probably one of the most amazing collector's editions that we got.
Yeah, that collector's edition did come from Fangamer, and it was really cool. It has like the little cat, and he's on a little red pillow, and I think he's like a little piggy bank, but we've kind of just always kept him inside his little box and all pristine. I'm sure it had some other things like a map and, you know, some cool arts inside of it as well, but really it was that cool little slime cat that's on the little pillow, kind of like a little lucky cat that we absolutely had to have. Honestly, back in the day when you got this on Fangamer, the reason why I always preach about Fangamer, because it wasn't that expensive. I find collector's editions today can really get up there in price, but I think they have really great limited editions, collector's editions for these indie games that are not that crazy in price. They're usually under $100. I can't think of one that's over $100, and this one was as well, and it was still like, it's one of our favorite collector's editions.
And this is also the cutest first-person shooter that you can play.
Absolutely it is. And that's why, hey, you like first-person games, you like cute stuff, or one or the other, try this game.
So I have a game here that was an exclusive on Xbox One, but later on it became a multi-platform release under a different kind of republished, upgraded version. But Super Lucky's Tale, this particular physical release, only came out on Xbox One. So the one I talked about earlier is the new Super Lucky's Tale, which also came out on PS4 and on the Nintendo Switch. But this particular one, yeah, physical only on Xbox One. And this was, I would say, Xbox's attempt to get a 3D platformer exclusive going. And I remember when this came out, I actually didn't play it when it first came out. It wasn't until much later. And I probably had like a digital copy of it. I played it through Game Pass. But then at some point they delisted it in favor of new Super Lucky's Tale. That is still on Game Pass as well. But the developer was so cool that they actually gave people the DLC for free, because there's DLC in this game. And I love that kind of story where developers like, hey, sorry, we delisted it, but we had a new upgraded version that we're trying to sell, obviously. And people, you know, as they should, they complained. And I was one of the people that got the free DLC, actually. So I think that's really awesome. And it made me actually play the game and appreciate it a lot more. So that's as little as it can take for you to like a developer, honestly. It's just like a lot of people talking about getting a free DLC. But overall as a game, and I've talked about this game before as well, as an exclusive and as a platformer, I'm not the biggest fan of like 3D platformers, but I thought this game was pretty fun actually for what it was. And you know, even going for all the achievements and doing all that kind of stuff, it's the typical stuff you would see in a platformer like this. And I think it's worth playing and worth collecting this particular one, because like I said, this physical only came out on Xbox One. So it's kind of a weird story, but that's why I recommend that you check out this game and get this physical on Xbox One, because it should still be very cheap as well.
My next one, it's no longer in production, at least for the Xbox One or for any Xbox console. Even though this game is super popular, it's still going strong today. When it comes to physicals, you're only going to find this now for the Nintendo Switch, and that is Stardew Valley. This is Stardew Valley Collector's Edition. This was another one of those fan gamer published games, but when I looked it up just recently, you no longer can get this for the Xbox One. It is a Switch only game now for when it comes to buying this physically. It also came out on the PS4, but same thing, it looks like they're not publishing it for the PS4 anymore as well. So we got the collector's edition of it, and the collector's edition includes like a town map, it includes a little mini guidebook, and also a soundtrack. So you can still find this, I would say, under 20 through GameStop or eBay, but if you look on Amazon, it's getting up there in price for sure. So this is one that I would say just try to keep an eye out for, try to look for it in person and find a good copy of it so that you can add this physically to your collection, especially if you collect for the Xbox. If you don't know about Stardew Valley, this is a farming simulator. It was highly inspired from the older Harvest Moon games or Story of Seasons game, but this one has definitely like taken over for all of those games. It's just like gotten massively popular. It continues to grow with free updates, which is amazing, honestly. Like, there's no paid DLC for this game. This is just like free updates that add more pets, that add different concepts to the game, new storylines in the game, new gameplay, new islands. I mean, it's an amazing game to play if you're into these types of farming sim games. But like I said, most people do know about this one, but if you are a fan of the series, I highly suggest pick up the physical for this one for whatever console that you collect for, because I think this is one you're gonna wanna have in your collection.
It's not a game that you associate a lot with Xbox, really, right? So
no.
It's because it came to Game Pass and you had the physical, and I knew we had to jump on it just because of that. But this is, not a typical Xbox game, so I can see why you're recommending picking up the physical.
Yep, I always try to look for these types of games that just don't seem like your typical Xbox releases and make sure that I pick them up almost day one, basically, because I'm always afraid that they are going to just not be, produced in lower numbers, basically. And that's exactly what happened with this one. So definitely try to find this one today.
And I'm going to go with another bundle similar to the Goat Simulator one, I would say. Another PAL release only. And I feel like this one is unique and worth picking up. And we're both familiar with these games, of course. That's the Unravel Yarny bundle, which comes with Unravel, the first one, and Unravel 2, which is kind of the co-op one, right? And we played the co-op one, which I'm sure we can talk about here in a second. Because I was always under the mindset, or just as a collector, to get all of the NTSC releases. So I just kind of overlooked a lot of the PAL ones and even the Japanese releases for a while there, even on Xbox One. So when I started looking for this one, I realized this was only PEGI 7 in Europe. And that's when I knew I just had to import it. And obviously there's nothing wrong with it because it's all region free. But it's worth getting this because these were digital only releases at first. And then they decided to do this Yarny bundle with both games. And I remember, I think I bought both of these games at launch and I played both of them. I think we did the Unravel 2 pretty much shortly after they released it. What was it like? They announced it at like E3 or something, and then it was like, it's available today, so it was kind of a weird one. But really great games, I would say. It has that beautiful Scandinavian backdrop, and then you play as a little yarn guy, and you have to solve puzzles and swing from different obstacles and do platforming with your own yarn body. And I haven't played any games like that before, and certainly not after. And I would recommend Unravel 1 for sure. Unravel 2, we had some difficulties with, not just achievement wise, but also as a co-op game. You can play it alone, I think, with controlling both characters, but I can't even imagine doing that. I think we got pretty good at the game in the end, but we still have a lot of work to do with most of the difficult achievements, which is pretty much all of them.
Which is the speed runs. And I can't imagine...
No dying and speed run.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No dying and speed run, which I can't imagine doing on your own, the speed run. However, still trying to coordinate that with a second person. And I mean, we were both going to have to just practice the crap out of those levels, memorize them, and then work together to get through them as fast as possible without dying.
which the first one had similar achievements too, with speedruns and no dying, I believe, but you had a little bit of leeway there. This one is far more difficult, I would say, less forgiving, and I think we've done a couple of levels, but it's one of those where it makes it very difficult because it is local co-op only, so you can't get like a friend from a different state or a different country to help you out. You have to do it locally, which probably makes sense why this was a little bit different, but we also felt like the kind of atmosphere of this game was a little bit different from the first one, and that's where it got a little bit weird. But I still can't recommend these games enough. They're great little indie bundle, or I don't know if they're more AA since it is EA after all. But having a physical for this, for me, was again no-brainer. I just had to have it because Unravel is one of my favorite indie series alongside something like Little Nightmares. So yeah, having a physical is fantastic. So let's go. Thanks for watching today's episode, and we hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. Make sure to check out this video as well, because that's what they recommend that you do on your outro on YouTube.
And if you enjoyed this one, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us out. Also, it'll let you know when we make our next video.
This isn't goodbye forever, but until next time.
Bye!